Hi, today I have Kerrie Rogers with me, who is a recent grad from UNCG and was a former classmate of mine. So, hi Kerrie, thanks for having me today.
Thanks for coming to my studio.
And so I'm just going to ask you a couple of questions to help us learn about yourself. And so the first one I have is, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, as you said, I am a recent graduate as of December from UNCG. I was an apparel product design student, and the last year I was the president of Threads, the student organization, which I'm sure you talk about on your site. And currently I am freelancing on my own, so I'm not employed by anyone else, I'm employed by me. So that's a really great thing that happened after I graduated. Basically, I do technical design for different boutiques around here.
That's awesome. And so I'm just going to ask you a couple of questions about yourself first, and then later on ask about your major and everything like that. So what influences your style?
Well, it has a lot to do with what I listen to, depending on the day. Like today it's raining, so some days I'll wear really simple loungy clothes, like knit waffle sweaters, but I always, do something cool to my hair, or try to. And then some days, whenever I wake up and listen to Buddy Holly or something like that, then I feel like being really retro. So I really love the 50s and 60s and that era of style.
Yeah, and I can see that through your designs in class as well. So that's cool. So what are some of your favorite stores and brands?
Well, I always look at stores like Anthropologie, Urban Outfitters, All Saints, and of course Forever 21. I go there a lot. I am a bargain shopper. A lot of vintage stores, because I do have a lot of stuff from the 50s and 60s. And I love collecting things like small little beaded bags, which I should be selling on my Etsy store when I put it up next week.
And talking about vintage, I know that you said you like to purchase like vintage designs as well, like patterns. So do you usually use those to make outfits as well?
I have some patterns, and then what I'll usually do is I'll find them and then I'll redraft them sort of to make them more modern. And then of course it depends on the fabrics, because back then they used polyester and uncomfortable stuff like that. And I'm a big fan of using 100% cotton or 100% wool or natural fibers, usually in all my designs.
That's awesome. So what do you enjoy doing on your spare time other than sewing and working on your patterns?
Other than being here, like well, the great thing about working for myself is I don't have to wake up till like noon every day. That's great. So I hang out with my friends a lot. We go to the coffee shop almost every day. We go down to the Green Bean. I love going to shows that my friends do. There's a lot of stuff to do around Greensboro. Just kind of around town. I love First Friday. It's one of my favorite things that Greensboro has to offer.
That's awesome. So just going on with that question, where are some of your favorite local spots around here in Greensboro, other than the Green Bean?
Yeah, well, I am there a lot. Gosh, I don't know. I love.
What are your favorite places to shop around here?
My favorite place to shop. I love Design Archives. If you haven't met Kit at Design Archives, then you really need to meet her. I love her emporium that she has. It's really great. I love what she's doing for like local artisans and that sort of thing. Just Bees, another great spot that I love. Another store just opened here.
Is that like another vintage shop?
It's on the corner of, it's like right catty corner sort of to Design Archives, and they do, there's jewelry there, books, journals, a lot of locally made stuff that they have there. Another one of my favorite shops to go to is, well, it's a new one that just opened called Civic Threads. So they're sort of really new in what they're doing, but they're looking for local artists to put their stuff in there. So yeah, just pretty much walking up and down Elm Street. You can find a lot of stuff.
So, which is downtown here. Okay, so now I'm going to start asking your question about your major and everything. So first of all, just talk a bit about your major and how long you've been in school and how long you've been sewing.
Well, I guess I'll start with sewing. I started sewing ever since I can remember, but I didn't get my first machine until I was 16 years old. So that's when I taught myself how to use a machine. Before then, I'd always done everything by hand, making Barbie clothes and all of that. And so once I got my machine, I pretty much just kept on going. And that actually made me decide to go to UNCG, and it was the only school I applied for.
Oh, wow.
It was the only major that I really ever done at UNCG. I didn't change majors at all. So I entered in fall of 2007 and finished in December 2011. So I was there for an extra semester, which is pretty typical.
That's totally normal for others.
But I did apparel product design the whole time, and it was a lot of fun, and I really loved it. But one of my favorite things about being at UNCG was definitely being in threads, because my first fashion show was in 2008, in the spring of 2008, and I was a freshman, and threads was sort of just starting out, and it was really exciting having your stuff like go on the runway. So after that, I pretty much just stayed on that track and did a fashion show every year. And it was so much fun, and I met so many people that are so influential, like you, and like so many other people. And then I also did the YMA,
Oh yeah.
the Young Menswear Association Fashion Scholarship Fund. I did that 2 years in a row, and both of those times sent me up to New York for the last 2 summers.
That's awesome.
So that was great. So
And
yeah.
through that scholarship, that's what gave you your internship. So would you like to talk about your internship a little bit that you did?
Sure. I did 2 different internships. The first one I did between my junior and sophomore and junior year, 2010. And I worked at Nautica. I was the showroom manager's assistant, which basically meant that I ran around and found samples and worked with the merchandisers to make all the showrooms look really pretty. A couple times they sent me to the Macy's at Herald Square to help do store set in the middle of the day, and that was really terrifying. And then this last summer I worked as a design and technical design intern at John Barbados, which is a high-end menswear designer. His stuff was sold at like Saks and that sort of thing. So it's a really small scale, and so it was a really small floor, so I learned a lot in a really short period of time, and it was a lot of fun. And I definitely couldn't have done it if I hadn't won the YMA.
Yeah, which is an awesome opportunity for all of us. And since your internship at John Barbados, did that inspire you? I know you're interested in menswear. Were you inspired by after working at the internship, or did you always wanted to work with menswear before that?
Well, I was sort of introduced to menswear at Nautica,
Okay.
and so that's what made me start thinking, wow, I could actually make menswear, which I love when guys, are dressed really sharp.
Yeah.
Like I said, in the 50s and 60s,
Yeah.
I love when guys dress up. So when I got to John Barbados, it was all about menswear, and it was really inspiring seeing the kind of technical detail that they put into everything, because it is high-end. Getting ready for the show in Milan was a lot of work, and they have those twice a year. They just had one last week. So having that pretty much inspired me to do a menswear look for my senior collection, which was really, really hard to do, because we didn't even have a male form really that fit.
But it looks
what I
really
was
good.
doing.
Yeah, it looks really good.
So yeah, it was really nerve-wracking, because in school we weren't taught how to do menswear at all. So it's pretty much, that's your own thing if you want to do that. So I'm really glad that I took that step though, to do it on my own.
So can you tell us a little bit about your job hunting process after graduating?
Job hunting. Well, I haven't really been searching really that hard. I definitely love New York, so I definitely want to be back there. But before I graduated, I started this freelancing, and so sort of keeping that going on while in the background looking for job hunting possibilities. I did get to go up to New York for an interview already, and that was great. I did get that one, and so I was thinking, maybe it's just not the right time to do it. So I'm gonna focus right now on my business and my brand that I'm building and keep applying. And so that's one thing I have to tell anybody is just keep going, keep applying. Use all of the contacts that you've made because really that's how you get it. Like that's how I got that interview was through a contact that I made up there. So really, I don't want to say it's about who you know, but definitely know who you need to talk to when you're done, because ultimately if you are a hard worker and you've saved up your contacts and really built up your network, then you should be able to find something when you're done. If not, you can always do what I do and work for yourself. And so I was really fortunate just because we are in Greensboro. The great thing about owning your own business is real estate is cheap here. So it's really easy to start your own thing, especially when you've built up all of the stuff that you've needed already for your business. Okay.
That's really good. And I'm really nervous because I'm like graduating soon, and then knowing the fact that you are applying for, well, this is your first job. And
yeah, this is my first job that I applied to. So I graduated a month ago.
Yeah.
So
I'm just really nervous, but then it's really good to know that, you have this to back you up in case, things don't work out, but you're very comfortable with what you're doing now, you're happy.
I mean, that's the most important thing, like do what you're happy doing, if you're stressed out and you don't feel like you're ready to go to New York or Chicago or LA or wherever, take your time, you have the rest of your life. You definitely want to do that sort of thing while you're young. That's what everyone keeps telling me anyway, but I've been in school since I was 5 years old, so this is the first time I've ever not been in school. So just being independent and being able to be on my own time has been great. So I think there's definitely something to be said for the lifestyle that you lead that way.
Yeah, thanks, that's really helpful. So another question I have for you is, who's your favorite designer, or who are your favorite designers and why?
Well, I have a couple. My most recent favorite is Yoji Yamamoto. I love the way that he uses draping and cutting fabrics on the bias, and it's really creative, and he does men and women's wear. It's always unique. I've always loved Anna Sui. Every year she's always really surprising, and even though I always wear all black, as you can see, I love the pattern mixing that she does, and everything that she does with that. Redarde, the sister team, they always surprise me with what they're doing. And also Erin Featherston, she always does really cutesy stuff, and sort of more classic looking. So I think it pretty much sums up my style influence.
Okay, so the last question I have for you is, how has your major helped you in your post-grad?
Well, apparel product design definitely helped me with my business because I'm basically start to finish tech designer, sample maker, so it's sort of wearing a lot of hats at the same time. So in that aspect, doing the technical design and all the pattern making and draping in school helped me a lot. But my minor was entrepreneurship in the Bryan School, which CARS is now a part of. So through all of those entrepreneurship classes, I learned how to build my own business plan, how to do my taxes for my business, because technically right now I'm a sole proprietor. Looking to maybe incorporate in the next few months or so, depending on the direction that it seems like I'm going to be going in. So I have, taxes for my brand, Shovel Designs, and then also for me, which would be just me selling my services. So, I wouldn't have known where to begin if I hadn't done entrepreneurship. It's still hard. I'm still teaching myself, everything along the way, but it definitely gave me a great building block that a lot of people don't have if they hadn't gone to our school or hadn't done entrepreneurship.
Well, darn, I didn't take entrepreneurship, so I think I'm okay. But I think those are all the questions that I have for you, and thank you so much for having this interview with me, and I hope all of you learned a little bit about post-graduation and how you should prepare for it. And thank you, and maybe we'll have you again next time.
Yay! Thanks for coming in.